I run the New Orleans and Back program here at Capitol Hill, and it's a program where sophomores, juniors, and seniors get involved in learning about how to strengthen their community and become leaders. They also focus on housing policies, and we actually spend a whole year doing fundraising and then learning about the housing policies, and then learning also about New Orleans and what the similarities and differences are between New Orleans and DC. And then we actually go to New Orleans for a week and do rebuilding to help their community. This program started 6 years ago with 12 kids, and now on a Saturday I usually get 52 kids into the building. The goal is just to help empower students, to help them recognize that they do have control over what's happening in the world they live in, that they can become leaders, they can solve problems diplomatically, that they can get involved in the community and see changes actually happen in front of them. It also helps them to work on what a role model in school looks like in regards to coming to school, communicating with their teachers, being leaders in the classroom with their peers, as well as just figuring out how to be successful outside of the school. How do I build relationships?
She assigns the seniors and the juniors of the program. We have this thing called mentors, and as a sophomore, you'll have a junior or a senior who works with you closely, gives you advice and stuff on how to succeed, and you'll build a relationship with that mentor. And once you become a junior in the program, you become a mentor to a sophomore, and basically build a relationship with a sophomore and create the foundation where it's going to be continually the building of relationships in the program.
Do you want to add anything to that? How we strengthen relationships?
We also strengthen relationships with the program by also, when it comes to, what's that word? Like when sponsorships and things like that, when working with Fragers, what else? Oh, we also build relationships when we go to New Orleans and work with two organizations called the St. Bernard Project and also the Appleworth Project. And they usually give us the tools to help rebuild homes. And yeah, and then when it comes to DC, we work with schools such as Parkside and many other schools when it comes to doing the teaching program where we teach middle schoolers about the importance of a community and a home as well.
To add on to what my colleague Takumba said, in New Orleans we also live in a house together for 6 or 7 days, and it's almost 30 people in the house together, and that teaches you, one, to get along with people you're not used to being around, and you're going to build a relationship with them because we try to cut out technology in our house, no TV or computer or video games or anything like that. So you're building a relationship with the people that you're living in a house for a week with.
The goal is to feel like we're actually in a home. So there's chores. Everybody has a job every day, whether it be waking everybody up, making breakfast for each other, or just getting coolers in the car or cleaning the car at the end of the day. We also meet every Thursday and do community builders or do team building leadership exercises. And it's all about getting to know people, but when you put anybody in a situation that's not normal to them, whether it be the people that they don't know or whether it be in another city, it tends to put you in a position where you realize that you're all alike, even though maybe you might not be friends on a daily basis, but that you all have something in common, and the common goal is to make a difference. Well, in regards to the housing policy part, in terms of educating them on what housing policies are in DC and in New Orleans and then just in the country, we over the last 5 years have brought different people in to talk about policies and what happens in regards to how to get support for living in affordable housing just throughout DC, the programs. In regards to the travel that we do to New Orleans, I feel like it's been kind of luck every year. We continue to find people who want to invest in this program and who want to see and who have seen how this program has grown and how it strives and how yeah. And then the back part, so it's called New Orleans and Back. The back part is when we actually, in the spring, write lesson plans, implement them, have kids, work on large-scale projects that actually also talk about the different housing policies that we learn about, which we focus on how to create a strong home and community. That funding just also, once again, seems to come, and the resources seem to come from just running into the right people at the right time. That if you really want something to happen, you have to make it happen. We were told this program at the beginning might not be a good idea. We were told at the beginning that funding would not be available, and we just, I truly believed in the program so much that as long as you believe in it and you make it happen and you don't, and you continue to talk to people and figure things out, it'll work. And so now, 6 years later, it's grown once again from 12 kids to over 50 kids. We've had 6 kids get full rides to college. Several of them have even gotten lots of money for school. We have kids who now come to school when they used to never come to school. We have kids who used to not be able to communicate with people, now communicate with people. We have the GPAs have gone up, and we have all these leaders that have emerged through this program. I feel like one thing that we're really trying to help the scholars who are involved in this program understand is that when you start something, you need to finish it. It's all about commitment. And I don't know if that's really a demographic thing or if it's an age thing, but the goal is that, they get community service hours and they sign a contract. They have to be, even once we go to New Orleans, they have to be committed to coming back and teaching others about their experience. And before we travel, it's all about, if you're serious about wanting to be in the program, you have to be committed to helping us raise the money and learning about the program before you can actually travel with us. So it's all about commitment and follow through.
To add on to that, especially like when we're in New Orleans, the weather could be a challenge when finishing the work, and it's important to stay hydrated. And of course, that it's going to be a challenge just to even finish this work. But one thing that you should remember is that what you're doing is for a good cause. It's to help a family get into a home, even if it's just painting a fence or just building up a fence or putting up a drywall or anything.
We have begun to have these really strong relationships in New Orleans and here. So every year when we go to St. Bernard Project, it's AmeriCorps is who helps them run that program, and so it's every year it's new people, but they've heard of us. So there's 2 components to that. One, they've heard of us and we have a great reputation for coming in and working hard. 2, it's also they don't usually see our demographics. They don't see a bunch of Latino and African American students coming in to actually help their cause, which is rebuilding the city. So we've also built other relationships in New Orleans. The Neighborhood Story Project, which is founded by Abram Himmelstein. He works with teenagers and even teachers and helps people write books and publish their stories. So we've created a really strong relationship with him, and over the last 6 years have worked with him. He's flown in, we've worked with him there. We've even worked with one of the teenagers that wrote a book about the housing projects in New Orleans. The things that have happened, what has happened over the last over the last year, which is even more amazing, is that we're starting to partner up with actually high school students in New Orleans We've begun a pen pal program. The goal is that when we get there, we help them rebuild their community. So it'll have a stronger impact on our kids, knowing that they've now begun to really get to know the people who they're helping, which I believe makes a really big difference. Here locally, the relationships that we've built, Freddie Mac has continued to support us every year. The Shippey Foundation has continued to support us. We have the administration here, the home office. We are now going to begin to start working with DC Promise neighborhoods in the Kenilworth neighborhood, and meeting with South Cedo about that to see how we can come in and actually help that community. And so I just feel like that people, when they hear about this program, they get excited. They're impressed that these kids are committed to a cause and how dedicated they are and what their success rate looks like.
As Ms. Song had mentioned earlier, like commitment is a big component of this program, and commitment is like, it's one of those concepts that you like need to have grounded down to be successful as an adult. Because like if you get a job, you can't decide to go into the job when you please. You have to go in every day and earn your money's worth. So commitment, I feel like it's one of the concepts that like stay with me whenever I think of New Orleans and back. So keep commitment in mind.
As well as commitment, there's also like responsibility. And when joining this program and becoming a leader, you also many would become less selfish and like start like worrying about the community. Like many people who go to New Orleans then come back, they realize that like, you know, New Orleans is going through more hardships than we are. Like it's all about like how the little things, they make a big difference, and sometimes we don't take them for granted. And it's important that like it's just important not to really think about ourselves every time. Just think about like what it could do to help others.
There'll always be people willing to help you, so you must always be willing to help people.